The Hawks beat the Avalanche 3-1. Petr Mrázek stops 36 of 37 Avalanche shots. And Frank Nazar is on the board. CHGO Blackhawks postgame. Let's go. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's here, as always, running the video and audio and all the things that producers do. She's producing, basically, is the way to put it.
I think that's what it's called, yeah.
Yeah. The Hawks win 3-1.
As we all expected.
Correct. Ilya Mikheyev, Frank Nazar, Connor Bedard with the goals. But as I said in the cold open, that's the industry lingo. 36 of 37 Avalanche shots stopped by Petr Mrázek. He was the story of the game. Colorado could have run away with this one early. Petr Mrázek was outstanding, and it's a guy that I want to start with him because it's a guy we've been tough on recently because until this game, he'd been kind of ass.
Bad in his last 7.
He is no longer ass. He is now the balls. Good night, everybody.
That's anatomy.
I'm going home after that
one. Yeah, I mean, this was a game that could have easily gone Colorado's way if Petr Mrázek would have had a game that he was accustomed to putting in basically since the beginning of December. And he came out and had a huge effort tonight. And right before Frank Nazar scores, there's that scramble right in front of Mrázek. Seth Jones clears the puck out. Colorado could have easily gone up 2-1 at that point, but it's Mrázek makes the saves that he needed to. Hawks clear the puck, and seconds later, Frank Nazar puts him up 2-1. Like, that is a huge turning point in the game.
Yes.
And Mrázek, that was at least one of 3 scramble situations that he made multiple saves on.
Yeah, and I think it was the first one of the 3 like close up.
Yeah.
That he stopped 3 point blank. Nathan MacKinnon is going to be seeing Petr Mrázek in his nightmares, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That was an outstanding performance. He was great. There's no doubt about it. So he was, as you'd expect, named the number 1 star of the game. Connor Bedard was number 2. Frank Nazar, number 3. We'll get to all those guys in a moment, but here are our candidates for the 4-star of the game. Get the votes in now. Colton Dock gets the assist on Nazar's goal. It is his first NHL point. Congrats to him.
Nice.
Ilya Mikheyev scores a goal and is just a really solid addition to that line with Bedard.
Yeah.
Possession, speed, good in the corners, a better, offensive player than his numbers would show. Mm-hmm. Aside from the goal, he had another move in close where he sort of walked himself in tight and had a nice scoring chance right in front. Really good game for him. And look, Seth Jones, also a bounce-back game from a guy who's not been playing well since returning from injury.
Yeah.
An assist, +2, 26-12, 2 shots, 3 shot attempts, a hit, and 3 block shots. Seth Jones was making solid defensive plays on Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon.
Getting the toughest minutes.
All night. Seth Jones had a tremendous game tonight for the Blackhawks. So not trying to sway your vote, but get those votes in. We'll reveal the winner at the end of the show, as we always do. We'll also get to your super chats at the beginning of the next segment. Do us a favor, smash that like button for us to celebrate that Hawks win. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And if you're listening on the podcast, we love you. We thank you. Make sure you are following or subscribed on your favorite podcast app. So aside from Mrazek's great game, you could see the relief on Frank Nazar's face when he put that puck in the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that when he came up here earlier this month, there was a lot of expectation put on him and to jump in and put up points and basically do the exact same thing he did when he made his NHL debut late last season, which was score on his first shift. He hadn't been able to do that, but it wasn't for lack of trying. He had a lot of quality chances in the games leading up to this one, and finally he gets one to go in, and it's Anders Sorensen talked about it before the game. Frank Nazar talked about it before the game with Phil Thompson, and the getting to the middle of the ice, getting to the high danger areas, playing with speed through the neutral zone and in the middle of the ice, being creative. Like, those are all things that Frank Nazar can do and has shown since he's come up here. And I think it's getting this first one hopefully can be a breaking of the dam moment where now you can see a little bit more of that confidence perk up because he's got that first goal of this call up and of this season. And now we just, you get the first one. We saw with Ilya Mikheyev earlier this season where he finally got his first goal, and then first turned into second and third and fourth and fifth, and he went on a goal scoring streak there. So it can have that kind of effect on guys. So hopefully for Nazar, this is some confidence boost of you get a quality scoring chance. It goes in. It was a good looking shot, and you build off of it.
I am distracted.
Yes,
because our guy Sean Anderson.
Yes.
Who is apparently very bored.
I think he's homesick.
Okay. He just sent me this DM, and I'm going to read it right away because it's really good.
Okay.
He says, "Hi there, long time, first time. Bedard is is 3 career points away from 100 career points. Here are the players in the 100-point club."
He's 2 points away.
2 points away now, yes.
Away.
Before the age of 20, with a negative plus minus. Bedard will be the 23rd player to score 100 points before age 20. 14 of the current 22 members had a negative plus minus before 20. Mm-hmm. So it's Bedard minus 60, Ilya Kovalchuk minus 43, Steve Yzerman minus 36, Mario Lemieux minus 33, Ron Francis minus 31, Trevor Linden minus 27, Bobby Carpenter minus 24, Jimmy Carson minus 24, Dale Howardchuk minus 24, Brian Bellows minus 14. I'm Brian Bellows. Steven Stamkos minus 13, Sylvain Turgeon minus 10, Phil Housley minus 6, Jeff Skinner minus 5. The only player alongside Bedard that is minus 40 or worse is Kovalchuk, who had to escape Russia before he was 40. Does getting his ass kicked every night bode well for Connor's future? There you go. There's Sean Anderson. That's great stuff.
That's hey, digging into the numbers.
I love that.
I love that.
Yes, that will be in that. I will post that in the post-game recap that I post after the game. And
that's
real quick, speaking of after the game, I will be jumping in on the members-only Discord and the audio channel as soon as I get in my car.
Nice.
So join me. We'll talk some Hawks as I drive home down to Dan Ryan. And if you guys dial 9-1, and if you hear a crash down, just hit the other one and tell them where I'm at.
Just hit send.
I'll just be like, guaranteed rate field. And then just dispatch the ambulance accordingly. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's a great it's a great little deep dive there by Sean, and I think we can get into the grander conversation if we want later about Bedard, but because there's been a big
grand conversation about Bedard this week
around him and what his numbers suggest and what he is and is not yet at 19 years old. And I just think you look at this kind of game, you look at the way that he was excited for scoring the goal that was waved back, and then he comes back and gets a much prettier looking goal for the 3-1 goal that actually counted, and you just see the way that he's responding to that, the way that he's been playing career high 8-game point streak.
Yep. By the way, 11 points in those 8 games.
Yeah,
for the record.
He's got
7,
and he's got what now? So he came in with 16. He's got 18 points in 15 games under Anders Sorensen. Like that's been a big positive, and playing that system's been a boost to him. Also finding some chemistry with Tyler Bertuzzi has been a boost to him as well. So yeah, I mean this season has been challenging for the Blackhawks, like in total. But one of the silver linings, at least since the coaching change, has been that Connor Bedard, people can talk about him not being generational or not being a superstar or not being effective and whatnot. And that conversation is centered around a 19-year-old who is second youngest in the league, behind ahead of only Macklin Celebrini, who is in his last 15 games over a point per game player. Like it's definitely like it's crazy. It's crazy to be at that point where we're having these discussions about, is he generational? Is he as good as the hype?
Look,
and even just the statistical numbers would say, yeah.
But even if he falls short of generational, however you want to define that, right?
Right.
I think maybe what it means to some is once in a generation a player like this comes along. To me, that's Connor McDavid.
Right. If you want to, and that's one of the things I have with the term GOAT. We cannot have 50 billion.
There's one GOAT.
Goats.
There can only be one GOAT.
Greatest of all times. So yeah, if you want to say a once in a generation talent, whatever generation you want to fit it in, like McDavid, Crosby, Ovechkin, like that probably is the tier that you're talking about. If Bedard is just short of that, that's a
good
list of players to be just short of.
We're getting on a side, but I still think that conversation is in play for him. Anyway, we've got plenty of time and years to get into his place in history, so we'll do that. But I just, Nick Foligno yesterday after practice talks about this team needs to find an identity. Mm-hmm. And our buddy Greg pointed out, like, they have an identity. They're fragile and they're not good.
Yeah.
And not inaccurate from him, but I was curious to see what the response would be in this game. Like, it was kind of a weird day of practice yesterday. Foligno was on the ice late, and a lot of guys were on the ice late because a charity winner had like a skate with the captain thing, and some other players hung out. So we were waiting for an hour. A lot of the guys were gone when Foligno spoke, so I don't know how many people saw that. But he again said this team lacks identity, and the identity we want to have is to be a team that's hard to play against. And you could say what you want about talent, and you could say what you want about, how it's being built or whatever. But we have seen, and Foligno said this yesterday too, it's in there. Mm-hmm. And when we're pissed off after games and people are coming here and be like, what do you expect? They're bad. They're supposed to lose. It's like, no, they're not supposed to lose the way they've been losing.
Right, yeah.
They're a better team than they're built, and we've seen them be a better team than they've played like. This was a good response. Will it matter? Will it carry over to Friday? Will it carry over beyond that?
Right.
That's the question. And that's when you're talking about anomaly versus identity, that's the difference. Can they stack these? Mm-hmm. Beat the Avs, beat the Red Wings, boom, 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 start putting some wins together.
That'd be nice.
And playing this way to finish out. You're now officially at the halfway point, 41 games in the books. Can the second half of this season resemble a game like today where you were outplayed? Yeah. The Avalanche were the better team. Petr Mrázek was the difference. Mm-hmm. The numbers all lean in Colorado's favor. That's going to be the case most nights, just simply based on talent. But if they've got the willingness to engage and, as everybody says, play on their toes, they can hang, they can be in games. I hope that this is the catalyst for a run, not a playoff run, but you know what I'm saying. A streak of better games than bad games. It can happen
for the Blues.
Right. But it's just, we have seen these teases over and over and over again this season, and they've turned into nothing. I'm hoping this time it's different.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened after the Montreal game. I mean, it was just like, oh, okay, they can respond and they can pull themselves, up and get out of this funk. They can dig themselves out. And then last game was like, oh, no, they can't. And then you get a game like tonight where it's just like you're last place in the league, yet you're 2-0 against the Avalanche. And you've beaten the Oilers this year. Like, it's you look at some of the teams that they've beaten in some of the ways that they've won those games, and you're just like, yeah, like this team should be able to pull themselves out of this, and it is in there to do it. It's just the consistency thing. And today at morning skate, Connor Bedard talked about, like, within that conversation of like identity and being hard to play against. He was saying that, like, one thing I can control in being hard to play against is possessing the puck, creating things in the offensive zone, and he was doing that today. That top line of him and Bertuzzi and Mikheyev was really effective. Nazar and Doc and Tirabassi was pretty effective as well offensively. So being hard to play against and finding that identity within that like mentality is not just, oh, we're just going to be big bruisers and punish you all along.
That's not what it is. It's not fighting.
It's being,
engaging.
Being a frustrating team to play against can be the physical aspect,
Sure.
but also what's really frustrating when you play against another hockey team and when they have the puck 80% of the time, that's really frustrating. That's really hard to play against, and that's what the Blackhawks want to be, and that's how they want to play.
All right, we got to hit the break zone real quick. Connor Bedard's line for tonight: 1 goal, 1 assist, +2, 1848, 2 shots, 5 shot attempts, 1-8, and lost 5 faceoffs, 62%.
Yeah, that's good.
From the dot in this one. So one of his better games all around of the year. All right, back with more on CHGO Blackhawks. Hit that like button. We'll get to your super chats here coming up next. But we want to remind you about our friends at Game Time. You want to get out to a Hawks game? Game Time is the place to do it. They've got a new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for games and theater and shows and concerts and whatever easier than ever. It filters out the fluff, so you only get the incredible deals that Game Time offers. You don't have to go filter through thousands. It really just highlights the best deals for you there. Go check it out. I love Game Time. It is my first move. Anytime I'm looking for tickets, anything, it has come through over and over and over again. They've got the seat views, so if you're new to a venue, maybe you're like, I'm over in the corner, can I see the whole stage? Am I going to be cut off? Is it obstructed view at all? All those questions will be answered on the Game Time app. So do yourself a favor, download it. Download the Game Time app right now. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Create an account. Use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app. Use the code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
And when you're saving money using Game Time, you can turn that into something you can wager on. Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is with our friends at Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, not just pro or college football, but basketball. If you want to bet on the Bulls, go for it.
Bulls.
If you want to bet on the Hawks to beat the Red Wings, go for it. Actually, might not be a bad bet the way that things have been going. Whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it all. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. You must be 21 or older, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, you or they can call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, going to get to some super chats. By the way, some conversation about Alex Vlasic in the chat right now. Vlasic will join us a week from tomorrow. So put it in your calendars.
Nice.
2:30 on the 14th? Yes,
that would be tomorrow would be the...
No, that would be the 16th. The 16th.
16th.
So do
and
that.
On tomorrow's show,
yes,
will be Stephen Ellis of the Daily Faceoff. He's going to join us, kind of do a post-mortem on the World Junior Championships and kind of talk about the Blackhawks prospect system, a couple of guys that have been highlighted in there, and then give us a little primer on the 2025 NHL draft class.
It is time to start thinking about it.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Don't miss that tomorrow. He's going to join us right off the top at 2:30.
Should be fun. All right, Zachary Smith with a $2 super chat says, solid win. Now please let this momentum stick. That would be lovely.
Remember when Zach Smith was on the Blackhawks?
I do.
Yeah.
Now we have Craig Smith. It's all the Smiths.
Yeah.
Thomas Salata, $5 says Hawks have won 8 of the last 10 matchups against the Avs. Unreal.
It's impressive.
And Chris P says the TNT guys think we should trade Mrázek. Personally, having a guy who for the most part is a solid goalie is more important to keep here. Thoughts?
I think, I mean...
Is Laurent Brossoit alive?
I believe he is alive. Is he going to play this year is a big question.
You know what? If you're going to
think he is
a third-round pick or higher, and they're going to take that full salary for next year, I will ride with Comesso and Soderblom for the rest of the year.
This year? Yeah, I'm sure. You're not going for much this year, but I think you're gonna need Mrázek to string together a few more games like this one or close to this one to kind of, wash the last 7 games away out of people's short-term memory to get that trade value back up there. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of trading one of Soderblom or Mrázek if there was the right price. But I think if you're believing what Soderblom has done for the most part this season is mostly what he can be moving forward, then yeah, I think you invest in the guy who's a little bit younger, and you give Mrázek an opportunity to go somewhere else and maybe be on a contending team.
Yeah, to me, it's all about return. And if you're going to get a draft pick of value, I could be talked into it. So, all right, Lebowski $5 says, is it too early to say that Colton Dach is a foundational, like Bufflin or Brouwer, player for the future? I can just see from these first few games. I mean, Colton Dach's an NHL player. When I watch him play, there's nothing about his game that looks overwhelmed, that looks like it doesn't belong, that looks like a kid trying to figure things out. He brings something that they lack in size and net front presence.
Mm-hmm.
Could I convince you that Colton Dach's ceiling is Tyler Bertuzzi?
Yeah, I do see some similarities in their game and the way that they play, especially the willingness to battle around the net. And Bertuzzi's a great guy for Dach to kind of learn some tips and tricks for playing around the net. And I think, you heard Connor Bedard today kind of talk about Tyler Bertuzzi before the game and how good he is playing in front of the net and going, finding open space for backdoor plays and just kind of reading plays around the net. Like that's a high quality skill that he has, and something that's pretty underrated in his game. When you think Tyler Bertuzzi, probably one of the first thing you think is, oh, he's an agitator and he gets under people's skin and then, pots some goals too. But like, he hasn't really done a ton of that this year with the agitating, but he has definitely made up for it with like, oh, he's actually scoring goals, which helps you win.
I swear that because his name is Bertuzzi,
yeah,
people associate him with Todd.
Yeah.
And
it's his uncle.
By the way, I will say, Todd Bertuzzi, crap ass move that he did, of course.
Sure.
But was a 50-goal scoring stud, awesome hockey player. So until that horrible moment where he paralyzed the guy,
right,
he was a great hockey player. But I think Bertuzzi has this reputation as like a guy who's always taking bad penalties, and he's just not. He is a guy who will do the little things that you need to win.
Yeah, he has
lay out to break up a pass, get in front of the net, but he's not a guy who's dumb on the ice.
He hasn't been this year. No. And I think that's, like you're saying, like that kind of reputation maybe precedes him more than is actually the truth. And I think maybe he's playing a different role than he was when he was in Detroit and when he was in.
Well, he's matured a little bit too.
Toronto, yeah, like he's playing a different role where, he's on this team where he's actually looked at to be like, hey, we need you actually to be on the ice and contribute points and score goals because we don't have too many other people who are going to do it. Whereas on those other teams, they had other options to do that, and he could probably tap into those other aspects of his game. But he's been great with Bedard, and I think Colton Dach can find that game at the NHL level that he's found at the AHL level, where it's being strong around the net, going into corners, being a physical presence, but also he's got some skill in his hands too. Like he can score some good goals. He can create plays. We've seen it at the AHL level. If he can translate that up to the NHL level, I think Colton Dach can be a special player, and he's a guy too that is not afraid to play physical and also like stick up for teammates, drop the glove. Like he's done that before. It's not the only thing he does, but it's something that he also has in his arsenal.
Giggity says Bertuzzi's always stayed healthy. Dach is not. True. We'll see if that continues through his pro career. One more comment I want to get to. We got to get to more of the game, and we'll get to Ganja Man and Hawkeye a little bit later. But Reven earlier in the chat said, why is it the Hawks can beat good teams but can't seem to do anything against the bad, struggling teams? This is what Foligno's talking about. This is what we're talking about, is the not ready to play on a night-to-night basis. Not coming out with it. They knew that they had to buckle down to survive a game against the Avalanche. And we've seen, I have a running list of Hawks wins, and I haven't updated it recently, but I think it kind of indicates, I'm going to add Colorado to it now, They've beaten the Oilers, Sharks, Avalanche, Kings, Ducks, Wild, Panthers, Stars, Rangers, Islanders, Capitals, Kraken, and Avalanche. There's more that I haven't added, but just
Montreal.
I got the Ultimate Montreal in there too. So like they find a way when they play some of the best teams
mostly
in hockey
playoff teams
to find a way, because what they do is they bear down. They put extra thought into every move, and not in like a hesitating way. In a what's the right play? Make the safe play. Make the right play, because they know if they screw up, they're going to get smoked. They're going to get toasted. Yeah. And they might play a great game like they did today and still lose, but they know they have to play almost as perfectly as they're capable of playing against these higher quality teams, and they come out ready again, which is why it pisses us off so much when they come out flat against bad teams.
Yeah, I think they, for the most part, are ready to play in most games. They lead the league in scoring the first goal of each game. But I think it's an important thing that they don't shoot themselves in the foot. Like I feel like a lot of these games get out of hand because of self-inflicted mistakes.
Yep.
And so when they play these teams like Colorado and Edmonton and Los Angeles and the teams that they've beaten, they know that they have to limit mistakes. And the game the other night that they just lost, who did they just play? They got smoked. Rangers. The Rangers team that
that was begging for you to kick
they should have beaten. They were without Chris Kreider. It was the afternoon after a game that they played on the road the night before, and the Rangers have been a team that was just out of sorts for the majority of this season. And you have, what was it, 17 giveaways in the last game?
Giveaways,
like, I mean, that is the ultimate shooting yourself in the foot type of game. So you let that game get away from you after a good Montreal performance.
Tonight, 13, by the way. Same as Colorado. Both teams had 13 giveaways.
Okay. Well, you caused some turnovers, which is good.
Yeah.
But it's
last game was like 13 to, it was like 17
to like 5.
It was a very low single digit number.
So I think when this team can play buttoned up, and can limit their self-inflicted mistakes, they have a better chance night in and night out. It's getting there in their own way that I think leads to games kind of spiraling out of control. And if they can limit that, I go back to the comment that I think, was it Foligno? I can't remember exactly. I can't remember who said it specifically, but when they said like they played a good road game in the game that they won, it was our takeover night. When they beat Minnesota. It might have been Luke Richardson saying it too. But it was, that they played a good road game in that they kept things simple. They kept it like as simple of a game as possible, because that terminology is like, oh, you're not doing anything to try and like excite the home crowd. You're just trying to go out there, play simple, and get the best result possible. Like, should do that no matter what.
Well, and that they have to play that way every night.
Right. So when they execute it, you get games like tonight.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we got a lot of people watching, not a lot of people liking. 400 plus people watching.
Nice.
First of all, thank you.
That's awesome.
We appreciate you being here. Always bigger after wins.
It's funny how people like to
celebrate victories,
celebrate wins,
and when the game's on everyone's TV. That helps too. But do us a favor, hit that like button for us. If you're here for the first time, make sure you're subscribed. But please, please, please get in the habit of hitting that like button. It's very important for our visibility. So the more likes it gets, the more it moves up the algorithm, so more Hawks fans can find us and enjoy the show with us, or watch us yell after bad games. That happens sometimes too.
I don't know how this conversation started that I'm looking at right here, talking about players' heights. But at BJD, I can say Tyler Johnson is not 5'4".
No,
he was mostly eye to eye with me in the locker room, and I'm 5'9". So yeah. I don't know who they're saying.
People get really like worked up on how tall people are.
Well, Louis Crevier being 6'8".
Just play. You can play. Little guys have had very successful NHL careers. Mm-hmm. Vince in the chat says Steve Sullivan, Theo Fleury. Martin Saint Louis was not a very big man.
No.
Big legs.
Big in the legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, not very tall.
Connor Bedard, pretty good.
He's 5'10".
Brad Marchand, pretty good.
Pretty good. He's allegedly 5'9".
Yeah. All right. More to come on CHGO Blackhawks. A couple more super chats we're going to hit, and a whole lot more coming up. Hit that like button again. Be back in a moment. That was That was as bad as a throw to break as I've ever done in my
talking.
life. Oh, boy.
Just talk your way through
I'm just going to keep talking.
fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, and go. Shady Rays. They're back in winter form. Get ready for the snowy season ahead with quality shades built to last. But, Jay, it's snowing. It's cloudy out. I don't need sunglasses. You ever heard of going snow blind? It's not fun. Nope. You don't want to do it. Get yourself some Shady Rays. They've got you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. They're an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product. I can't put those on or I can't
Appreciate the hustle, Sarah.
Rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. I'll try it.
Oh.
I'm going to go over. Wow, how clear. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics. Yeah, these are very fingerprinty. Making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, including ski goggles.
Yes, perfect for the winter.
If you're athletic, unlike me, go for it. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. I am struggling. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off cool polarized sunglasses like these.
Super cool.
Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Shady Rays.
Do that.
They are real. I do love these though.
And you know,
I usually, my contacts, or I'm on the show once, someone's like, Jay, you look weird. I'm like, well, never wearing those again. Been thinking about that for 2 years.
Yeah.
At least you have a nice sweater on today.
Everyone loves my sweater.
I told you. I said it too. I was like, it's a good sweater.
Sierra Trading, the Marshalls of REI.
There you go. That's how you explained it to me before.
Yeah.
Hey, we're brought to you guys by Empire Today. When you got your cool shades on, you can sit back and look at your floors and say, you know what? Those floors need to be replaced. Those polarized shades are showing me some imperfections in my floor.
Stains I never saw before.
And I want to get some new flooring. So I'm going to call Empire Today because with Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they got copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on quality, service, or speed. So competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply will not carry. Now, they did just say that they give you a low price guarantee, but they're not promising a low price on low-quality products. They're promising a low price on high-quality, pristine, elite-level products, because anyone who's putting the low-quality flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs is doing you wrong.
Yeah.
Empire's not going to do you wrong. They have their virtual floor designer, which is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. Just take a picture and instantly see how those new flooring options will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. When you do so, all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when you use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions do apply.
Oh, yeah.
See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details.
Yeah, do that. You know what? Let's. Do we have any more super chats we got to get here, Sarah? Holy Lord, they're rolling in.
More.
We love you guys. All right, Giggity's $2. Bedard 62% at the dot. Nazar 83%. That'll do. Let's talk about Frank Nazar.
Did you know, before we do that?
Yes. No, I don't know.
Besides the Blackhawks, the Avalanche were 30th in the league in faceoffs. I would not have expected that.
I would not either.
Yeah, well, they stunk tonight. So
Also, before we get to Nazar,
good for Nazar and Bedard.
dear 7-pound, 8-ounce hockey Jesus, please let Mikko Rantanen reach free agency. That guy is a freaking beast.
Until he's
Hossa.
He is not signed.
Correct.
That's how contracts work. So
Man,
it's still there. The dream is still alive.
He is exactly what they need.
It'd be awesome.
Oh my God,
That would be awesome.
please somehow, please.
That's a guy you drop $13 million for.
At least I don't even blink at that.
Yeah.
I don't even. He's amazing. Okay, Frank Nazar. He was outstanding tonight, and he is definitely starting to feel the confidence. I think even goal aside, he is aggressive. He forced a turnover late where Tavo hit the post.
Yeah.
He's didn't jar the puck loose, but his forechecking caused a turnover. He instead of rushing it and trying to whip a shot at the net, takes his time. He knows someone's coming.
Yeah.
Hits Tavo in stride right on the tape. Tavo rings it off the crossbar. Brendan Burke called it as a goal. It looked
was
like
close,
it was so close, and he just looked so confident. And that's what Sorensen was saying before the game. Like, he's doing all the right things. He's getting all the chances. He's going to be fine, and the goals are going to start coming. And I don't know if this is going to start some huge wave of scoring for him, but I feel very, very secure about Frank Nazar's future. I don't think there's anything left for him in Rockford. I would say the same today about Colton Dock. Now, if a week goes by and he starts to fall off a little bit, maybe, just maybe, but I don't need to keep them up here. Why not?
I'll say this about both of those guys. Don't be surprised if by the end of this month they head back to Rockford for Nazar play in the AHL All-Star game,
Sure.
which he was named an AHL All-Star in the Central Division today rather. That's February 2nd and 3rd. And then I also wouldn't be surprised if they go down around that time, that end of January, early February,
For the Four Nations.
play during the Four Nations break.
That makes perfect sense.
I wouldn't be shocked if both of them do that. But I mean, if they play the rest of this month and continue on the the trajectory that they've shown so far for both of them in this few handful of games they've played, maybe they don't. Maybe they feel like, hey, you're on the NHL team. You've kind of played your way into those NHL perks, and you also get the time off that everybody except Tavo is also going to get. So yeah, I mean, I think that could be a possibility.
Poor
But
Tavo.
with Nazar, like he is not one to have his confidence shaken easily, and I think the way that he's been playing, it just lines up with everything that we've heard about him as he was coming up through the prospect system that we saw with him at Michigan and we saw with him in Rockford. Like, as he's gone up in competition levels, like he's really just been able to reach all of those benchmarks of like the speed, the creativity, reading the game, and then like you were saying, like with the chance that he created with Tavo, like that is part of that, like reading the game defensively as well, being able to. He's not a guy that's just going to be all offense and a defensive liability. Like, even though defense is not the best part of his game, it's something that he's willing to do and capable of. So that's a big deal for him. And Connor Bedard, after the game here via Ben Pope, talking about Frank Nazar, says, quote, "It feels like every game is his next best game. It's so fun to watch with the amount of skill and poise he has. To see him put one in, I'm sure he's going to go on a roll now." That would be lovely.
I'm hoping we get. Bedard had a lot of interesting things to say. I'm hoping we get the post-game video sent to us before the show ends.
Yeah,
because I want to hear from him. The other aspect of Nazar that perhaps we are underestimating is Connor Bedard, 8-game point streak. Frank Nazar has been here for 5 of those 8? How many games has he played this year?
Let me look.
Whatever it is, he is giving the Blackhawks another offensive option. It's someone else that the other team has to be aware of. So instead of just shutting down Bedard and knowing that if you do that, you probably have the game won.
This is Nazar's 12th game.
Oh, wow. Damn. Okay, so 12 games for it. I cannot believe that.
He was called up right before the coaching change.
Yeah, I think.
No, it would have been after, because this was the 15th game under Sorensen.
Yeah. So okay.
So right.
So yeah, actually, it does feel right because he was up basically right after Sorensen. So, anyway, point being, now there's someone else on his team offensively that the opponent has to be aware of and has to prepare for. And I'm not taking anything away from Bertuzzi or Tavo or Taylor Hall at this point, or even like Nick Foligno. But they are not the offensive talents at this point that Frank Nazar is.
But those are already guys that teams would see on the roster, see on the scouting report, and be like, yeah, we know what these guys bring to the table. We know what we need to do to defend them. Nazar is a guy that's coming in, and usually when you get these younger players that have these higher skill levels and they're higher prospects and stuff, the league needs to kind of figure out what they are and what they aren't at this point and how to defend them.
Yeah.
And if Nazar's putting up this kind of production, having these kind of games, that's an added element that another team will have to worry about.
Yeah, and I don't know if, again, all respect to these guys, yeah, you have to be aware of Bertuzzi and Tirabassi. They're not game changers. They're on a really good team. They are solid depth pieces, just like Teuvo was in Carolina. He wasn't the A, B, or C guy you worried about on that team. But then as you looked at their depth, it's like, damn, they got him too, and him, and him.
Right.
Like, it just goes on. And that's where his value really comes in. I think the same with Tyler Bertuzzi. Toronto last year, you're worried about Matthews, you're worried about Marner, you're worried about Nylander, you're worried about John Tavares, and then you're getting to the Bertuzzis and those kind of guys. Right. Great depth pieces that can play up and down the lineup, do a lot of things for you. But in terms of game-changing type talent on this team, it's Connor Bedard, and I think it potentially could be Frank Nazar.
That would be great. That's what you kind of hope out of guys that you take in the teens of first rounds of drafts and stuff. That's the hope, that you get a guy that as a forward can be a top 6 difference maker. And I think from what we've seen at all these levels with Frank Nazar, the success he had in college, success he had in the AHL, the way he played when he played at the U.S. development program and part of last year's gold medal Team USA team, like there's really been no indication that he can't be that type of difference maker once he gets accustomed to the level of competition that he's at. And I think
feels like he's there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was game 15 of his career. He had 3 at the end of last year, 12th game this year. Like, he seems like each game he's getting more comfortable, and he's getting, like Bedard said, like, it seems like each game he's improving, to which, you say at the end of the night, like, Nazar had a really good game. And this was another one where I would say, like, pretty much would venture a guess that the analytics would back it up too, that this was probably his best game of the year.
So looking at lines analytics, the Nazar line led the Blackhawks with a 70% Corsi, 7 shot attempts for, 3 against. I'm looking at expected goals were 0.41 to 0.15 against. Scoring chances for 4-2. High danger chances 2-1. They were the best line for the Hawks. Your second best permanent line was Bedard, Bertuzzi, and Mikheyev. I want to talk about Mikheyev a little bit too. 13 shots for, 8 against. It's a 61.9 Corsi. Nice. No, not really.
61.9?
Yeah, 61.9.
Booyaka.
Even in scoring chances for and against, it's 6. Same with high danger, 2 and 2. And then your other lines of Dickinson, Hall, and Foligno were 40%. They're drawing the toughest defensive matchups. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas Reichel, Donato, and Smith, 4 shot attempts for, 10 against. That's a 28.57 Corsi. So that they got caved in. That line got caved in possession-wise. And I got to say, very glad Lucas Reichel's back in the lineup. He should stay in the lineup. I did not like his effort on that first goal.
Yeah.
Parsonen, had a step on him, but Reichel kind of stopped striding once they crossed the blue line, just kind of stuck his stick out trying to restrict them, and Parsonen puts the backhander over. It's
a really nice shot.
It was a great shot. I'm not taking anything away from the shot, but I don't think the scoring chance should have even have been allowed. Knowing Reichel's speed, and we saw him several times in this game burst.
Yeah.
When it's time to go to the offensive zone. I don't want to nitpick, but
I'd like to
you gotta be fair.
I'd like to go back and see, because I don't recall from watching it live, but I'd like to go back and see if that was like at the end of a shift or something.
I actually checked that.
Okay.
As soon as it was scored, it was 30 seconds into a shift. So it was about, it should not have been an excuse. He should not have been out of gas at 30 seconds of a shift.
That's fair.
Again, it's nitpicking, but if we're going to, if every time TJ Brody makes a mistake and every time Seth Jones makes a mistake, or, if we're going to tear them apart, we got to be fair to the guys that were, the young players. So, look, that's part of it. I want to see a little more. I'm sure he will hear about that in the video sessions tomorrow, but, just something to keep an eye on. Sarah, I'm going to send you the postgame. I would like to play Bedard if possible.
Oh, I just sent the postgame video already.
Oh, look at you. Yeah. You get him before me because something's up with Gmail.
I think they just you're at the end of the list alphabetically.
Maybe is that how they send? It sends alphabetically.
I really don't know.
That could be.
But yeah, I mean, with Reichel, I think he still had a pretty decent game getting back in. Unless he's egregiously bad, I think.
And he wasn't.
Yeah, for the record. I think there's no reason to keep him out at this point. Like, you still want to give him the opportunity to continue playing. I kind of like the Donato and Smith and Reichel group. I know Smith and Maroon and Reichel has been the fourth line that you go to the most, but I think if you have to sit Pat Maroon to get Reichel in, I'm at this point I'm okay with that, because you want to get more playing time for Reichel. You want to see exactly what he's bringing to the table. And if you read Scott Powers' piece in The Athletic today about what he's hearing regarding trade deadline and guys that could be targets, there are going to be players moving, but it sounds like maybe not as much as we might think.
Yeah.
So you gotta get these young guys in and give them the time as much as you can, because you might not be opening up 5 roster spots by March 7th.
Well, yeah, we should talk about that a little bit, because I did think it was interesting. Basically said that Alec Martinez and Pat Maroon will pretty much say if they want to stay or go. They'll probably be given some, hey, these are the scenarios we have. Yeah. Do you want to go or stay? And they might opt to stay. I know as a Hawks fan, that's probably frustrating to hear, and you don't want it, but it is part of sometimes what it takes to get veterans like that to come to a situation like this.
Right.
Is the ability to say, all right, I'll come here. I'll sign for a year. I'll be a good soldier. I'll be the leader. I'll take Lucas Reichel on my little sled for Christmas. All those things that Maroon and Martinez have done.
Yeah.
With the caveat of, but you're not just going to trade me just anywhere. And I think that's fair. Like,
yeah, you might not have to contractually say, oh, you get a
no
trade
clause,
or,
right,
or a short list, no trade or whatever. But it's kind of like, hey, like if we feel like there's an option here that benefits us and puts you in a good situation, we'll bring it to you first before just, hitting send on the trade.
Yeah, and you might also see a situation where, I'm just picking names out of a hat, where, Minnesota wants Pat Maroon and Colorado wants Pat Maroon, and he goes to Minnesota for a fourth, and they say, well, Colorado offered a third, but he wanted to go. You might have to accommodate his preference, even though the return might not be as much. I know that's annoying, but those are the sort of things when you talk about, like, why would a free agent choose Chicago? Stuff like that gets around the league that, hey, when I was there, even though it was a short-term, 1-year deal, no movement clause, they accommodated me and they treated me well and they treated my family well. And those are the sort of things when, look, like, I know we look at this, and I'm guilty of this as much as anybody, as like NHL 25, you're just kind of manipulating rosters and finding the best thing. They're human beings and they have families and they want the situation that's best for them. And guys like Maroon and Martinez have earned that. So if they stay here or they're gone for less than what you felt they're worth, it might be frustrating in the moment, but down the road, it will probably at some point pay off for the Hawks.
It could.
One way or another. But he did mention, Scott Powers, that Ryan Donato's name as a big trade candidate. Obviously, Taylor Hall was way high up on Frank Saravalli's free agent list. I've seen him lower in some other ones, but I think he's probably likely gone if he keeps playing like this.
It seems like he is as far as trade pieces go, he's probably the one that's going to get you the most, and it might not be that much. I don't know how much. I think it's more of the name value of Taylor Hall and being able to play like a third line role for a contending team that makes him the most attractive, because it's a guy that's a former MVP. Like, he has a big, resume that helps the case there. But yeah, I mean, has he been lighting up this season? No, but I think he's been productive enough that a team can look at that and be like, if he's on our third line, that's an improvement.
0.5 point per game at this pace.
Yeah.
Obviously getting healthier. The ACL is healing as he plays. Yeah. I think he's looked faster lately. I think he's put together some decent games in a row. I think even like the Winter Classic, he was one of the few guys that actually looked decent in that game. So I do think you could probably get some. Like if I'm a contender and Taylor Hall's available, especially if the Hawks are going to retain some of that salary, it's pretty tempting. That's a really nice depth piece, scoring piece, and seems like a guy who is kind of happy to be in like a secondary leadership role, just kind of be in the room, do his thing, stay on his own. The other thing, I think we should get into this tomorrow after we talk to Steven, is that somebody in the league told Scott Powers that they think that Seth Jones's contract is movable. That was shocking to me.
I mean,
and we are Seth Jones apologists. We're told all the time.
Yeah.
But if someone wants to take Seth Jones's contract, let him off the hook by all means.
I mean, I'm not shocked that at least one NHL executive believes that, because the league is full of people who have done some not smart things in executive roles with regards to, player and asset management and everything. So I'm not shocked that someone has that belief, but that would be a fascinating move, because I would be very interested to see what that GM would think would be a return to move that deal. Right?
Elias Pettersson.
Sure. Absolutely.
The trade is 1 for 1.
100%.
I wonder if Kyle Davis is on the phone with the Oilers right now.
Oh, sure. Why stop there? Why not Pettersson and Miller?
No doubt. One more super chat before we hear from Connor Bedard, our buddy Windy City Hockey. $2 says, I'm predicting it now. Nazar hat trick versus Detroit. From your eyes, from your mouth to host's ears, my friend.
In his hometown, that would be, hometown, but that would be awesome.
All right. Let's hear from Connor Bedard after the Hawks' victory over the Avalanche, this courtesy of our friends at the CHGO Blackhawks.
Yeah, it's always nice to kind of get one back if one gets called off. So, I didn't know. It's kind of 50-50, and so it was good to kind of erase it a little bit.
How are you feeling overall tonight?
Felt good. I thought, obviously that's a really good team. So, a lot of shifts. It's going to be pretty 50-50, but I thought we had some good plays, and overall it was a pretty good game from our whole group, and obviously Peter was unbelievable.
He's had a rough go over the last couple of starts and everything, and how much we can see him come back.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say he's had a rough go, and we were giving up a lot of grade A scoring chances, and today we gave some up as well, but he was there to bail us out, and that's what he does. He's been so good for us, and him and Sodi have both been the backbones of our team, and we feel confident with either, and Peter's always great, so it was obviously great to see that tonight.
How much energy? It's only like one game, obviously, but what can beating a team like that do for a confidence level, especially if you guys have been struggling?
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do. It's kind of stack them up and get a few wins in a row, and we had a win against Montreal, who was a team that was really hot and playing really well, and then we had a tough one the next game. So obviously we got to be happy with the win tonight, but see areas we can improve, and try to get on a roll.
How nice is it to get contributions from young guys Nazar and Doc, and how much excitement was there on the bench when Frank scored that goal?
Yeah, it's awesome. You see Frankie getting better every game and playing really well, creating a lot, and it feels like every game is his next best game, and it's so fun to watch, and just the amount of skill and poise he has, and to see him put one in, I'm sure he's going to go on a roll now. And same with Docker since he's come up, he's been great. He's brought a lot of energy to our group, and he plays so hard. So for him to get his first point, and it's always exciting to see, and they were obviously thrilled.
Is it encouraging for you as a young guy when young guys that are part of this long-term plan start coming up and they make impacts like that?
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of picks in the last few years, and obviously I'm focused on our current team, but when you see guys come up, Frankie, Docker, Corch, all these guys that come up and look really good. It's just exciting because Frankie's 20, Docker's 21. It's going to get so much better, and obviously that's exciting to see.
How do you score that? You guys scored that first goal. Do you feel like that's at all an evolution after your game too? Just throwing it deep and getting on the forecheck and kind of I guess playing even a cleaner style of hockey, or more simple at times.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of forced myself to dump that one in a little bit. I think you got to do that sometimes. I mean, I kind of was standing still, and I probably would have turned it over if I tried to do something. So I think that's just finding the balance and, making plays when they're there and, trying to be simple. And, that just makes you harder to play against when, not giving them kind of free chances. And, I think that's, it's nice to, see one go in off a play like that.
You were pretty good at the dot tonight. Did you, I guess yesterday, did that help, or is there anything that you put to use from working with Yannick yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, we've been practicing a lot, and like we say with getting one win, it's, one game, and, that's an area, obviously I want to improve, and that has, been a struggle for me personally, and, I think just trying to practice every day and, figure little stuff out, and there's going to be bad nights, there's going to be good nights, but it's about consistently kind of stacking up good nights, I think.
Connor Bedard, courtesy of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Thank you to them.
Thank you, Chicago Blackhawks. All right, we had 3 nominees for 4-star of the game. It was Colton Dach, it was Ilya Mikheyev, and it was Seth Jones. Sarah told us while Connor was talking, it was very, very close. Are we ready to declare a winner? Yeah. All right, the winner is, with his first NHL point, Colton Dach.
41% Dach,
Ooh.
and then 39% for
Mikheyev.
Mikheyev. Yes.
Ooh.
You're going to
Close
get
one.
it, Sarah.
A close one.
You're going to get it.
Yeah, I think it's fair when we have 3 nominees that all had really good games and it's tough to choose. For me, you go with the guy that gets his first career NHL point.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty special. So that'll be fun to see the first career point photo of him holding up the puck and everything. Should have a nice smile on his face because they won. Yeah, good for him. Good for Colton. It's funny, hearing Bedard and being asked about the production of the young guys when he is the youngest still of the young guys producing.
It's because these young guys that are older than me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like Frank Nazar turns 21 next week, and Doc and Allen, like these guys are all early 20s and stuff. Bedard's still a teenager, but he's just been here longer. But yeah, it's fun to see those guys contributing. It's fun to see, we talk about the culture of the team and who it's supposed to benefit from. It's the guys that are there now.
Yeah.
And it's guys that have had success at other levels, and now it's trying to find it at the NHL level as a group. And it's going to be interesting to see how much time they get to play together this year throughout the rest of the year, the second half of the year, and the opportunities they get. So I'm going to be excited to see how that pans out and get to see what they do.
Yes. Do us a favor, if you've not done it yet, before we wrap up the show, please hit that like button. We would really appreciate that. I want to remind everybody, if you got in here late, that after postgame, I'm going to jump in the members-only Discord and do a little voice chat as I drive home today. So if you're a diehard, be ready for that. Give me about 25 minutes after the show to publish the recap and put some finishing touches on the show, and then I'll be in the car on the way home. So open up that Discord Blackhawks voice channel, and I'll be in there taking your questions after the postgame. If you don't have that and you'd like to be part of it, you can become a diehard today at allchgo.com. You get right away a free shirt or hat right when you sign up, or $35 off a sweatshirt like Mario's right there. There you go. You also get access to all of our great written content, the Rebuild Report, Blackhawks Beat, all the stuff we write all the time, recaps, everything that goes not just for Hawks, but every Chicago team from all the Chicago writers. 20% off merch in the store, all of our events, all of our takeovers, everything, 20% off. It's a great deal, pays for itself. We're going to have another takeover to announce for this year soon.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. Our sweet takeover is coming up on the 20th.
Yeah.
And had you been a diehard, you would have saved $80 per ticket on that. So lots of perks.
And have you been faster on getting them, you would have got them before they sold out in,
Correct.
1 week?
It was like a day,
Or
2 days.
Was it? It was shorter than
I
that?
think it
Yeah.
was within 3 days. We sold
Yeah,
out.
it was gone.
So, gotta be quick.
So yeah, jump on that. allchgo.com. Please become a diehard. We'd love to see you here. We'd love to have you as part of what we're doing here. especially
that's a nice
to
picture.
do it to celebrate a win. Oh, we got the picture of
That's a nice picture.
Can we get it up quick?
Doc with unless we want to extend the show. Doc with Nazar and Tavo in the picture. Blackhawks just posted it. So.
All right, go find that.
It's a
on
nice
the
picture.
Blackhawks Twitter account. All right, we're back
Everyone's
tomorrow,
smiling.
2:30 with Stephen Ellis of the Daily Faceoff, and we have one more $5 super chat. Sorry, Tom. $5 says watching the Avs with their speed and passing abilities are future in years when all the prospects in the pipeline develop and mature.
That'd be nice.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
To be the Colorado Avalanche, yes.
I'll take it.
Sign me up. All right, we're going to wrap things up. Talk to you in about 25, 30 minutes on the Diehards Only Discord or tomorrow at 2:30 right here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.